Hey guys, it's Dr. Ryan, and today we're here with one of my patients who's been with me for, about 5 months or so. This is Steve, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his experience with Summa Up. So, Steve, why don't you start? Why don't you tell a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do, some of your hobbies, and your family?
Yeah, sure. I'm Steve from Wisconsin, up north Wisconsin, and I'm an endodontist, a dentist. We specialize in treating or helping people save teeth and treating pain in teeth. And I guess some of my hobbies are, music. I'm into music and still have young kids, so I'm still mostly just working on the family and myself, trying to get better. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so why don't we start by talking a little bit about your experience prior to joining the clinic? What were some of the problems that you're trying to solve in terms of your health and longevity?
Several years where I was like a high achiever and pushing the limits like academically, and when I hit my kind of the peak of that, and kind of I had like the family I wanted, I had the degree I wanted, I had the job I wanted. I got to a point where I decided I was going to just kind of enjoy life for a little bit, but then I got comfortable, which is good, and maybe it was deserved in a way, but also at the same time, I mean, after I woke up a little later, a few years later, 50 pounds heavier. And I think I had hit a point where I was just really tired. And, the 50 pounds was also not only affecting my health, but I had arthritis
Mm.
everywhere. I was just constant kind of had a lot of joint pain. It was also affecting my mood in a lot of ways too. I tend to be kind of prone to depression and anxiety, and that got worse the more out of shape I got. And I guess there were some lab values that started to creep up little by little with my primary care provider, that I guess I had hit a point where I said, I need to try to see if I can figure out a way to feel better, look better, and try to see if I can increase my health span and my lifespan, just to see if I can, improve things. And so I started, that's where I was when I found Dr. Ryan.
Yeah, and the reality is your situation is really common. A lot of my patients are very successful like yourself. It takes a lot of work and effort to become a specialty dentist and grow the practice system that you have. And listen, you deserve it. You studied really hard, you pushed yourself, you worked these crazy hours. But on some level, I think, once you hit that plateau, you start to, think about things outside of, your finances and your family, right? So things like your mental state, your energy state, your physique, libido, and then longevity, right? Because you've worked so hard to create the life that you want, and you want to make sure you can enjoy it for as long as possible. And many of these things start to come to the forefront after you, so to speak, made it, right? And you talked about some of these problems. How exactly did these problems affect you specifically in a negative way? Like, what were some of the things that you noticed, perhaps your low energy levels or your mood? How did that affect your career and your family life in particular?
Yeah, I've always tried to, push forward as best I could, but there just came a time where I started to feel the weight of the day. I got less and less energy as time went on, and the pain and the aches and the pains and things were starting to add up. And I'd come home from work and I was out of energy. And I was just tired. And I'm like, the last thing in the world I wanted to do was work out. And I was giving every ounce of energy that I had left to my family. So that I feel like the family, that I never sacrificed. That's always been number one for me. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I just was out of energy, and hopefully that the family wasn't negatively impacted in any way. But
Well, it may seem that they weren't outwardly, but on some level, you felt that you weren't perhaps the best father or husband that you could be, and maybe not the best boss you could be at work, right? And I'm glad that you recognize those things because, these are things that are very important, right?
I'm always
And
trying to get better. And so I did realize that, I knew it was my health, and there's so many years that go by where you kind of put job and career and family and everything. Because I was so comfortable, it was really easy for me to neglect the health, not take the time to make the right food that I was supposed to be eating, and not take the time for myself to be healthy. And ultimately, you need to be a little bit selfish, I think, sometimes in that regard, so that you can give more to other people then. And I think I hit a point after a few decades of work and grind and that I'm like, I got to take some time and just figure out where I'm at physically, the biomarkers and all of that.
Yeah, and that's, again, it's really common. I have many patients like yourself, or many individuals in the space that are very successful, very driven, and they're givers in many ways, right? To their patients, their clients, their family. But in order to be the best person you can be, you do have to spend some time on yourself. We just kind of think, well, you can kind of burn the candle on both ends, but there gets a point where it just gets to be too much. And actually, that's kind of, let's segue into that. Was there like an inciting event, like a point where you're like, okay, I got to do something. I've kind of plateaued. I've kind of, been in this situation for a while. Was there a situation? Was there like an event that happened to you where you're like, okay, enough's enough. This is the straw that breaks the camel's back?
I don't think it was any individual event. I think I had just gotten to a point where I just felt so sluggish, and I had tried so many diets. And another thing that was really frustrating to me was when you go and you try to become healthier, and I'm in healthcare, kind of. I mean, I'm in the dental side, but when you look at like the studies on what you should be eating and what you should be doing for supplementation and workouts, I mean, it really is confusing what's out there. You could be all carb diet, no carb diet, all fat, no fat. And so I guess I felt I was lost, and I didn't have any direction. I've kind of tried to stay a student of things, and I started looking into longevity. Like, what's the research on longevity? What's the research on health span? And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that I probably wasn't looking at the right things. I needed some direction. And so I started looking for someone that could help me with that.
Okay. So during this process of investigating providers and looking at clinics, how did you find out about my clinic, Summa Up, and myself?
Yeah, it was kind of, I started Googling some things. I use Google Scholar a lot too, but anyway, it ended up coming up. I saw Dr. Your posts on Facebook magically, somehow through the search engines and the way they do things. But, and so I was, the more I researched longevity and what you need to know to become healthier and live longer and feel better, you were one of the doctors that came up. And so I clicked on your page and started to read the testimonials, and there were so many other people that were so happy with the results they were getting that I thought I better give you a call.
Great. Okay, excellent. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your experience after joining the clinic. So what were some of the changes that you noticed in terms of your physique after you joined the clinic? I am actually going to take a minute to kind of brag on you here, because I've been so impressed with some of the changes you've made. This is just a graph of your weight loss and starting. And actually, you were actually closer to 230. I guess that point wasn't tabulated here. And you've just made a really, really nice progression downwards to about 194, 195, which is just phenomenal. And whereas your weight has dropped, and I mean, you've lost almost 35 pounds, right? It's very evident in terms of your progress photos. That's where you hear a picture of when you were started. You can kind of see you've lost a significant amount of adipose tissue around your waist, right? And it's pretty prominent, particularly when you look at your side profile. See, really prominent. And then also your back. So your waistline's come down quite a bit, and you're getting a nice V taper, and we're still going. And so I'm really, really pleased with your progress. The other thing that I was really pleased with were your lab values. And as you can see, when you started with me, and I can see why your primary care doctor was a little bit concerned, your total cholesterol was a bit high, and your LDL as well as your apolipoprotein B, and your hemoglobin A1C was high. Your apolipoprotein B in particular, and this is a lipoprotein that's pretty highly associated with heart disease, stroke, was 120, which was not good. And your hemoglobin A1C was 6.3. You were just about to become diabetic, right? And these are things that we definitely need to turn around. And then after, following our protocols, you're able to completely just reduce this. So you went from a total cholesterol of 216 to like a total cholesterol of 167. Phenomenal. Your LDL dropped from 139 to 103. And your apolipoprotein B, that really important lipoprotein, dropped from 120 to 99. Just phenomenal. No statins, diet, exercise, supplementation, just remarkable. And then what's really awesome is you're not anywhere close to diabetes anymore. You're significantly away from being diabetic. You're not even pre-diabetic, and we still have room to go. My goal is to get you close to 5, a hemoglobin A1C close to 5, and I know we're gonna achieve that. So that's just incredible. Outside of that, did you notice any other changes?
No, I was ecstatic when I saw the lab results. After just 3-4 months, man, that's a dramatic change. I feel great. I have a ton of energy. The clothes are fitting. I kept some old jeans that are starting to fit now that I had from 10 years ago, but I'm feeling great. I don't have hardly any joint pain. I still have some aches and pains. I mean, I'm almost 50, but man, I feel better. Just amazing, the difference in just the 3 months of how I feel. And it's encouraging when people start to notice too, like, oh, you're doing something different. What are you doing? I've had actually one of my good friends asked me recently, like, show me what you're doing. And I said, well, I'll give you Dr. Ryan's info. Here we go. So it's been great. Really appreciate it. I mean, it's it's taken a lot of the stress out of my life too, in that I have a diet and I have a workout and I know what I need to do and the supplements I need to take. And I don't have to go on the internet anymore and like, oh, should I be doing this diet or that diet? I just do what Dr. Ryan tells me to do. And then the proof's in the blood work right there. The biomarkers have been way better, and I'm excited to see. It's only been 3 months, so I'm hoping, in a year, where am I going to be? It's going to be amazing. I should be at my ideal weight, and I'm hoping by the end of summer, and maintain that and just keep getting healthier and hopefully live longer.
Yeah, well, that's the goal. I mean, as I mentioned, we've made significant progress towards your ideal physique, but we're gonna get those abs popping out. We're gonna get a nice V taper going. It's gonna be wonderful, and I'm really pleased to see that your energy levels and your joint pain has reduced significantly, which probably has impacted you in many ways. Perhaps your career and your family. Actually, how exactly has that impacted your work? Do you find that you're more present at work? Do you have can you see more patients? Are your colleagues you have a better working relationship with your colleagues and employees?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as tired. It used to be after lunch, I'd have to do an extra Americano to get through the afternoon or something. And now I just press through and I feel good and energized at the end of the day. Yeah, we're expanding, looking for an associate. I mean, things are looking up. I just have more energy at the end of the day to think about those types of things. And I have more time for my family. That's the number one thing for me, is having energy for the family after you put in your day's work. That has improved my relationship with my wife. Everything, it was always good, but it's better. Everything, I just have more energy. And I feel like I did in my 20s when I had all that fire in my belly to kind of keep pushing forward and get something going, Now I'm looking for, what do I do on the side? Can I get more stuff going? But, one step at a time. But no, I feel great. Every aspect of my life so far has been better. My mood has been better. I used to have long bouts of where my mood was down, depression, anxiety, and I don't have that as much anymore. I feel like I can deal with the days. That doesn't affect me as much as it used to. And it's just been this couple of months, so it's amazing.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't recognize is optimizing your hormones and utilizing, making sure certain supplements are utilized, like your vitamin levels are appropriate, vitamin D, vitamin B, B12. These have a huge impact on your mood. And just by, taking the right supplements and having an approach where there's kind of an expert to kind of guide you along the way can make a huge difference. I'm glad that you're experiencing those effects. So outside of your physique and some of the biomarkers and the energy levels, were there any other benefits you noticed that came from working with us?
No, I mean, it's been motivational too. Whenever I have a question or have a day where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of feeling down. I mean, you guys check in with us. I think one of the highlights of the program is is the interaction that we have. Like, you guys are so accessible and so amazing at, like, if I have a question about a chicken's getting boring, what do I do? Or something like that. You guys are like, hey, here's a bunch of things you can try. Or I have a conference coming up, and I know I'm going to have some cheat days. What do I do? And you guys have better, some ideas on what to do at the gym, at the hotel, or how to eat out. And I mean, it was just advice on life. Because I mean, if I could follow this diet to a T, I'd probably already be at my ideal weight. But life comes into play, and you guys are awesome about helping with that. Or if I need some motivation to get in the gym, and because we go through spurts where it's easier and it's harder and it's the grind, and but it's so worth it. And you guys are very good about helping with that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, one of our tenets is to ensure that we provide accountability, so we keep you on track, and then recognize that the diet and the exercise plan has to be sustainable, right? And so if you are traveling, if you're going to a conference, you can still make great choices. And if you have questions about what to eat, we're here for you, right? Because accessibility is really key. I mean, it doesn't really matter if I have a ton of knowledge unless I can convey it to you, right? And do it in a timely manner. So that's something that's really, really important. Very good. Okay. So what would you tell someone who's watching this video and is uncertain about the clinic? What would you tell that person?
For me, I took a leap of faith a little bit, in that you don't really know what you're getting. I think with medicine now, it seems like there's a decade or more between when, like, all the science is happening and they're starting to realize, like, what things can be beneficial and when they can implement that in clinics. I think at your corporate medical places, there's a lot of science on how you can just live a healthier life, live longer. And Dr. Ryan uses a lot of the things that are legit. They're out there. They're going to make you feel better. They're going to make you live long. They're going to help you live longer. They're going to help your biomarkers get better. And he's an advocate for health. And I would say, give him a try. For sure. I did. And I'm only 3 months in, and I'm already feeling better. And my numbers are significantly better just in 3 months. So I'm excited to see where they're at in a year.
Well, Steve, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your super busy day to tell us a little bit about your experience. And I'm so thankful that you've made some pretty amazing changes. So it's really, really great to see it.
Awesome, man. Thanks for your help.